こんにちは、秋元です。I'm Akimoto, Tadashi Akimoto. Today, I'm going to talk about two major mistakes I often encounter when I hear or see Japanese sentences coming out from Japanese learners. Making mistakes is okay, it's normal. Making output frequently makes you better at writing and talking in your target language. And that makes you one step or more steps ahead of people making no output. However, if you keep what I'm explaining in this video in mind, you'll be better. So let's get started. The first one is this. Let's say you want to say, I talked to Tim about Japanese learning, in Japanese of course, and you word it this way. 私はティムについて日本語学習を話しました。Can you tell why it's wrong? Some of you may feel this sounds a bit off, but why? The rule number one is a particle always comes after a noun. In English, you put a preposition before a noun, but in Japanese, a particle always comes after a noun. Of course, most of you know this rule, but when you make a long sentence with multiple particles, you'll get confused. について is a Japanese word for about. So, について日本語学習 sounds like about Japanese learning, but now you can tell you have to change the word order. If you just want to say, I talked to Tim, it's 私はトムと話しました。And if you want to just say, I talked about Japanese learning, it's 私は日本語学習について話しました。These two sentences give you the final sentence, the third one. 私はティムと日本語学習について話しました。私はティムと日本語学習について話しました。Well, let's move to the second one. The next one is 昨日買った本は日本語を勉強します。I'm sure some of you may feel like this sounds a bit off, but that's not enough. You have to be able to explain why this is wrong and how to fix it. My question is, what's the subject of this sentence? To me, 本は sounds like the subject because of what after 本. The rule number two is that the predicate always has to match the subject. The predicate of this sentence is 勉強します but 本は勉強します doesn't make sense. It's not 本 that can 勉強する but 私は or あなたは彼は people who can 勉強する There must have been 私は on top of the sentence, but it's omitted. It's true that omitting the subject makes you sound like native speakers, and actually when I talk to friends, for example, instead of saying 私は昨日映画に行きました I say 昨日映画に行きました because it's obvious that I'm talking about myself, so I omit 私は the subject. But as I said, even when you omit the subject, the predicate has to match the subject. So you should be aware of what should be the subject, which is why I always insist not to omit the subject until you can choose the predicate correctly. Only when you can always choose the right predicate, then you're ready for omitting the subject. By adding 私は to the sentence, we're gonna get this sentence. 私は昨日買った本は日本語を勉強します。Still, this doesn't sound correct because what after 本 makes it sound like the subject as well. So we have to change this. The meaning of the, one of the meanings of the is by means of. For example, you can say 私はタクシーで京都に行きました。I live in Tokyo, so going to Kyoto by taxi is financially incorrect, but grammatically correct. Well, I think I've explained what I was going to explain in this video, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I also hope you find this video helpful. Thank you for watching.